Good morning. How are we doing? Hope you're good. Welcome to the Rise to Thrive show this morning. This morning we're going to be talking about considerations needed when goal setting. All right, goal setting being one of those things that I think we could do a lot better at, and it could improve our lives a lot more. So I'm going to go through some common considerations of things that I take into consideration and considerations that I put forward to a lot of our clients. All right, let's get into it. Welcome to the Rise to Thrive show. I am your host, James Borman. If you are coming through, please do hit the love heart button and please do comment just down below here about whether you, number one, set your goals, but number two, follow through on those goals. And then please share with somebody that might need this right now. So you might have noticed that my lighting is not as good, and that's because I forgot my phone torch this morning. So I apologise if the light is not brilliant, but we will fight through. Okay, so I've always enjoyed goal setting. I think there's something quite exciting about setting goals, in terms of being excited about what you can achieve, sitting down with a pen and paper and just like thrashing out your future, really connecting with your future, really connecting with an element of control and consistency. And I think there's always been something quite cool. But I think a lot of the problems that many people have is, I don't want to go straight into it too much, but one of the problems is we don't follow through with them, right? We don't understand necessarily what we're doing. And I think a lot of people just write stuff down and then lose that piece of paper maybe a couple of days later. So, like when I turned 40, which was, oh my God, 4 years ago, I just wanted to have some clarity about where I'd be when I was 50, right? And I thought, I've got to make sure I nail my 40s. I've got to make sure there's a plan. And I sat down and I created a 10-year vision. I created a 10-year vision, which I reverse engineered, and that then became my plan, my goals. And I created a system that as many of my clients would know as the 10-year vision, 10-year mission. And I managed to reverse engineer all of them to what I needed to achieve for my first quarter. And then I broke my first quarter down into 3 28-day checkpoints. And then I just focused my first 28 days into 4 weekly checkpoints, right? For those guys that are just joining us now, we're just talking about goal setting. Let us know whether you actually set goals, you write them down and you follow them through. So that was a really interesting concept, and I really felt like really organized and really focused for my 40s, and it was great. And what it brought me and what it brings you guys is that when you set goals, it brings what I have now evolved to the 4 C's. Many people will know that as the 3 C's. So the 4 C's, when we put down things about what we want to achieve, we bring an element or a tool or a blueprint that provides consistency of action. Now, consistency comes when we're focused. When we're inconsistent, it's because we're not fully focused on what needs to be done and what's happening. So by putting all of these goals down, you bring a tool and element of consistency. And that means that actually we're not trying to do everything all at once, trying to achieve something they're not really clear on. We're actually got small bite-sized chunks of things that we need to achieve, and actually now we can be consistent in achieving them because we've actually written them down and we focused on them. The second C is control. Now, control is something we like more of, right? Because often when we don't feel in control, we fall out of love with life, we become overwhelmed emotionally, we struggle mentally. So when we have control of our time, energy and focus, man, life seems a little bit better, right? And the goal setting almost provides a blueprint for you to be in control. It provides clarity, so clarity of where you're going and how you're going to get there, which is great to know because many men actually drift through life having no direction and it becomes very, very frustrating for them. And then the new C that I've added is commitment, because commitment is what's required to get to the place that you want to be, right? So you've created this blueprint and it's almost you committing yourself to that process. It's like signing a contract with yourself to say, this is what I'm going to do, minimum requirement to show up, right? And then suddenly we have those those C's. Okay, so I want to talk about common mistakes that people make when setting their goal setting. So there's a few. So one of the biggest mistakes that I think a lot of people make when they set goals, and I did a video on this yesterday, and it's they think they can achieve more than they actually can at the time. And a couple of people wrote in the comments saying, "No, screw that. I'm thinking big. I want big out of my life." And that's all well and good, right? We all want to achieve something big. We want big goals. We want big ambitions. We want big impact on the world. And quite rightly so. Why shouldn't you? But where it goes wrong for me is that many of the people that start setting goals are unconditioned in goal setting. They're unconditioned emotionally, mentally, and physically to achieve those big goals right now. So someone will sit down and go, "This is what I want to achieve." And actually, it's massively out of the span of that individual, right for them right there and then. I'm not saying ever, and this is where you have to really clearly understand what I'm saying to you, is that at the very start, when you start setting goals, you have to start at a micro level. You have to kind of, you don't just get, when you start running, you don't just suddenly start running 50 miles, right? You start doing a 5K, don't you? Then you start doing a 10K. Then you go, right, I'm ready for a half a marathon. Now I'm ready for a marathon. Now I'm ready to, like 4 years later, I'm ready to do my 50 miler. And it's the same with goal setting. We start small micro ones. So like many of the guys who are in my Elite 28, I say to them, only plan for the week. Like set goals for the week. Some of them never even set goals before. So if I'm saying, right, yeah, go and create a 10-year plan, like they're like, what? I don't even know. How do I even plan the week? So at the minute, it's a case of like, plan the week. Condition yourself to planning the week. Build yourself mentally, emotionally, and physically to planning a week and achieving that week. Okay. And that's one of the biggest common mistakes that we find people make when doing it. It's out of their reach. So what ends up happening is we disconnect from the goals that we set ourselves, and then we just go back into the black hole, into the trenches, right? And we go back to the way that we always were. Oh, it just doesn't work. I'm just not showing up. I'm just not good enough. And then you start falling down your pity party, and then you feel sorry for yourself. So one of the common mistakes is planning too big too soon. All right, so we're going to rectify that for you. All right, so let's talk about a strategy to make them. So I've already kind of sort of dropped the hint in how to do that. If you are brand new to goal setting and you don't set goals, I would say for a month, just set weekly targets in each of the 4 pillars: health, relationships, business, or slash career, and your personal development. So start small, start simple, right? So for example, a goal for this week might be, I want to achieve 1 hour's worth of fitness. I want to listen to 1 podcast as part of my personal development. I want to make sure that I finish work on time. I want to make sure I buy my wife flowers once this week. So there's 4 goals straight away. We've set them. Okay, we write them down at the start of the week, and at the end of the week, we go, right, what did I achieve? Did I achieve what I said I was going to do? Great. So we do that for 4 weeks. You build up that level of conditioning, and you go, right, now I'm going to plan for the month. So I'm going to plan for October. Okay, so they're not necessarily weekly goals, they're now monthly goals. So at the end of the month, I want to have achieved 6 hours worth of fitness, just for example. I want to have started Spanish as part of your personal development. I wanted to have started a brand new program for my business, or I want to make sure I put my phone away when I get home from work to be with the kids. Right, so then let's break that down into 4 weekly plans. So I know what the outcome is at the end of October. I then break it down, okay, into 4 weekly outcomes or targets. So I dissect the goal and go, right, that's what we're going to follow now. To keep it super simple. When you feel you're at a point where you're ready, okay, and this is where our teachings comes in through the Elite 28, through the Elite 90, through the Elite Brotherhood, is that we teach people how to then go on and plan, how to plan 12 weeks, how to plan a year, how to create a 10-year vision. Because we're going through a process of learning, conditioning, and understanding, right? And then slowly you're building yourself up to that stage. Then you can start looking at like those bigger goals, those bigger aspirations. But as long as you have something, a milestone that you're trying to achieve and reach, man, you can't go wrong. Okay. And then the last thing is sticking to them. So there are three things to be able to stick to them. Number one is accountability. Without accountability, 99% of people will crash. And that's not just me plucking out the air. Been doing this a long time. When people don't have accountability of like, why you're not showing up, or you're going into a community, which is the second point, to write down what you're doing, which is the accountability system we have, your brain doesn't connect with the process. It will for 2 weeks, because you'll have a hard on for it. You'll be like, yeah, I'm ready for life. Let's go, let's go. And then life will disrupt you. You'll get ambushed emotionally, whatever. And then all of a sudden, like, you stop showing up to it, right? So you've got to have accountability. You've got to have community, okay? And you've got to have curriculum. So you've got to have continuation of learning, okay? And they're all the three things that we try to provide for our members and our people that are coming into our world is accountability, community, and curriculum. So you continuously learn. You have a structure, a routine, and a system where you consistently are checking in with what you said you were going to do, right? That's the whole part of this goal setting. If you want to achieve your goals, you want to achieve the outcomes, you've got to actually check what you're in with, what you're doing. You don't just write it down on a piece of paper and never look at it again. Anyway, listen, I hope that has given you some clarity. For those of you that are not already members or not already on a program, we are starting our Elite 7 next week. Week starts a week today. Elite 7 course, which is free. It doesn't cost you anything. It's 7 days in our world, in the Elite Brotherhood, where you get bags of content, bags of training, small micro element tasks to get you focused. So if you kind of need something to get this process started, that will be for you. If it's not, have a great day. I know it's going to be a sad day for everybody, but let's look at it as a celebration of a great life. That's how I will certainly look at it. And I hope you all have an amazing day. Catch you soon. Oh, let's turn off.